Hey, can you guys hear me? There is a Q&A box on the left when you hover. You can type in questions and comments on there. I see two people. I don't know who you guys are though. So let me see. You guys can type in. Um, hey, can one of you guys type in to the Q&A box to let me know who's there? There's a group chat function too on the top left if the Q&A is a bit too confusing. All right, let's see. Let's roll right in. So, hey everyone, it's Mimi here today, and for the next hour, I'm going to show you how to connect your way into landing a job that you love. Feel free to message me in the chat box and say hi. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide here. This statistic is pretty depressing. I mean, according to Gallup, their 2013 State of the Workplace on the survey that they did of like 150,000 people, 70% of Americans, they hate their jobs or they're disengaged at work. In other words, 70% of people aren't happy at their jobs. What the heck, yo? But, you know, we can do something about this, and that's why you're here today. And today, this is what you'll learn. Number one, why you should stop sending your resume into the black hole of doom. I've had people tell me, Mimi, I've sent like 30 resumes on Indeed.com and only got 2 phone calls. I'm thinking, no, don't do that. Two, where to find the people who will help you land your next job or even a career change. There's something called the hidden job market. And 3, how to get the inside scoop on a company and position to decide whether it's a good fit before you even apply. That way you don't waste your time in the long run, because you're going to be spending 40 hours a day or even more at this new job. Number 4, how to ask for career connecting conversations. So I'll have like questions and scripts included. Typically people call this an informational interview, but that sounds scary. So I've renamed it to career connecting conversations. So I hope you have a pen and notebook ready, because we are about to dive right in. I wanted to ask you, so what are you most excited to learn about today? You know, I want to give everyone a moment to say why you're here. Feel free to tell me a little bit more about your situation in the chat box here. Like, I'm curious, like, is it because you're unhappy at your current job? You know, what types of companies do you want to work for? What kinds of jobs? Anyone here considering changing their careers? I know that we have another girl named Mimi here, and she is at Berkeley. And I know she'll be looking for a full-time job after her internship. And then I know that we have Angie here, who is looking for a full-time job as well. So yeah, we'll give everyone a second here. Okay. Cool, you guys. All right. So to give you a bit about my background, so I can show you I'm not a sketchy person or a robot. I've been hustling ever since I was 16, and over the past 9, almost 10 years, I've had quite a lot of work and internship and organizational type of experiences. In college, I worked on higher education political initiatives, did stuff like freelance photography and photojournalism, that sort of thing. Did marketing and public relations for an amusement park and connected entrepreneurs to angel investors. So yeah, that's a bit about my background. And I guess one of the most crazy experiences I had was landing an internship in Silicon Valley through a tweet that I sent. So then after that, I ended up working in a few early stage Silicon Valley companies doing marketing and later helping a business development and partnership team. But now I'm doing career coaching for millennials. This came about because I realized I needed to be spending a more meaningful use of my time. And so over the past several years, there was just always this common theme of me being very intrigued by career pathing, and people have always asked me to help them with career-related questions. So this was a natural fit, and this is. So then, all right. What do these things have in common? So this slide here specifically, I want to show you a bubble flow chart connecting my 5 previous experiences, and what they have common is that each internship, job, and experience was the result of me connecting with people who could help me with getting the internships and jobs I wanted, even if it was completely different from what I was doing before. The marketing and PR internship at Elitch Gardens, which is an amusement park in Denver, was a result of connecting with a student government coworker, Allison. I, at the time, wasn't having any good luck at landing anything for a summer internship, and it was getting pretty late into the school year, closer to summer. And so I talked to her and just asked around. She had gotten an internship at Elitch Gardens, and she happily referred me to them. And actually, Allison later on became a good friend of mine, and we even became roommates. Random fun fact. And then the analyst intern at Rocky's Venture Club. It's an organization that connects entrepreneurs and angel investors. It was a result of me meeting a recruiter at a weekly open coffee club. I'd mentioned to him that I was trying to get an internship at some more venture capital related. He remembered, and Nicole, who was helping run Rocky's Venture Club at the time. She gave me a chance, and now she's one of my mentors. Super awesome. And then the marketing internship gig at Script Rock in Silicon Valley came about because of a tweet. I'd been reading a young guy named Smith's blog on how he got an internship out of Silicon Valley after graduating high school. So I tweeted at him, and we ended up talking over Google Hangouts. It turned out at the time he was now like 19, not in high school anymore, and doing marketing full-time at that company. I won't get into the whole story, but I've written a blog post on it, and yeah, he and the team over at Script Rock also gave me a chance and brought me on. So then leading to this next part, this is where I got my first job. It turns out that Script Rock had gotten some of its investment money from a venture firm accelerator that's called 500 Startups. And 500 Startups had invested in 1,300 plus companies to date. It was because of this network I was able to connect to BinPress, which is an early stage startup, and then I ended up doing their marketing. And then it turns out the next company that I worked for was also part of the 500 Startups Network. I'd spoken to the founder, Kevin, several times, and they were hiring for a business development person, but had not publicly announced it. And this was how I was able to successfully switch from marketing to helping run business development and partnerships at Geekatoo. So yeah, I mean, you can kind of see the common theme and connecting with people that can help you get the types of internships or jobs, even if it's completely different. So then let's move on to the next slide. This is actually probably one of my favorite slides. As you can see, there's a resume black hole of doom. You know, I think a lot of people find it easier just to submit resumes on Indeed.com or Monster.com and apply to like 50 companies with the same general resume and a generic cover letter, but then only get 2 companies to call you. That's what's like a 4% conversion rate. Or when you apply on company sites, but you don't even get a reply back, or maybe you get a reply, but it's like 2 months later. Yeah, well, that's a long time. The problem here is that people at these companies haven't put a face to your application. No one at the company knows you, and that's why it's like 90% harder for them to notice you in the first place. So what I am proposing is you have to get past electronic gatekeepers, which are the applicant tracking systems that companies use to screen potential candidates. So what you got to do instead is see if you know someone at the company you want to work for. The more specific, the better. It could be in the same department as the job posting or a hiring manager or recruiter. I mean, this can also work for people who are considering career changes. I previously reached out to about 70 people for help in some way, shape, or form as I was in the middle of trying to transition from marketing to business development. So what I want you to do now, you know, you can do this on your computer, or if you have pen and paper, write down 3 companies that you want to work for. Alternatively, if you don't know, you can put down 3 types of positions you'd consider. For example, like previously, I had considered doing business development as one type of role, partnerships as a different role, and maybe a third role would have been like account executive or something. So yeah, hold on to this. It'll be useful in the next slide coming up. So, okay, let's look at your list of 3 companies. Do you know anyone at those companies? Let's look at your 3 types of positions if you did that as an alternative. Again, do you know anyone at these companies? All right. Here's where you'd find people to help you that work at the companies you want to work for or the types of roles that you want to work for. The easiest way to go through is your own network of friends, professional contacts, parents, friends, and events, even LinkedIn. So, and the second easiest way is probably your network's network, meaning your friends' friends and their professional contacts, your professional contacts' friends and their professional contacts. LinkedIn has made this super simple for you to figure out who are your 2nd and 3rd degree connections. And actually, I'm going to show you that in some of the following slides. And it could be pretty easy too to connect with college alumni. The best way to find them is on LinkedIn, and I'm going to show you that here in a minute as well. You could even do a cold email, but you've got to find some common ground with them. You know, if you see someone's like LinkedIn profile and you're like, oh, this person is at a company I want to work for, but I don't know anyone that works at this company, I'm going to try to reach out to them. If you want to do something like that, like all good. you see like if you guys have any similarities and like the types of organizations you're part of or interests. So yeah. Moving on. Like I said, I was going to show you some ways to use LinkedIn for connecting. And okay, I just did a screenshot. For example, if I search on LinkedIn for people that are working at Google, it'll, right, as you can see here, it pulls up 3 people I already know and currently work there. Bingo. I know that I could talk to these people about the culture and different opportunities at Google. And they might even be open to referring me to a job, getting past the electronic gatekeepers, evil ATS. And then let's look at this. So you can also use LinkedIn to connect with alumni. There's where it says My Network, you can click on the tab and then click on Find Alumni. And then, for example, I just use like Metropolitan State University of Denver because I went there. And my alumni base has almost 60,000 people all over the place. Colorado, Phoenix, San Francisco, lots of different companies, level 3, looks kind of cool, pretty cool. And then like the different roles they're a part of. So yeah, I think LinkedIn is pretty useful. So I want to move on so what if hypothetically you don't know anyone at Google? Like, are you doomed? No. I filtered the MSU Denver alumni base to just people working at Google and got 10 results. It's not really shabby. So yeah. You can take another look at this. So yeah, you would pretty much just type in here. And then moving on. Now we'll move on to the actual email scripts you can use, which I've used similar ones. And the first one is going to be on asking someone that you know, or someone who you know template. Let's see. So this template, which I'll leave up here for a minute, you guys should let me know too if it would be helpful to send these templates to you. So it says, interested in learning more about desired company and desired position. Hello, first name. Do you want to mention something that's happened recently in their life? So I just want to back up and say the subject line here works because it's clear you're interested in their specific company and that specific role. And then if you look at the first paragraph, it's there to build rapport. So you want to mention something that's happened recently in their life. Maybe they got a promotion, maybe they wrote an awesome new blog post, or even just say, hope you're doing well. And then the second paragraph is there to describe where you are with your current job and that you are curious about this desired position at the company they work for. And then the third paragraph talks about next steps. Asking for like 30 minutes is the expectation if they're open to it, because I mean, they're helping you and you want to be respectful of their time. Also, treating someone to coffee is pretty standard and nice thing to do, just FYI. Phone calls also work. So yeah, this template has been pretty useful. We'll give another moment. You can see that there. Okay, let's move on to the can you introduce me to this person template. So sometimes the people that you know will know someone at a company that you want to work for, and this is the type of template that you could use for that. Let's go through why it works. This subject line, introducing me to name a person, works because it makes it super clear you want to be introduced to which person. First and last name is helpful. The first paragraph lets your contact know you are exploring new types of opportunities, and you can elaborate a bit more if you want. You don't want to make it super long and overwhelming though. So yeah, elaborate more, but keep it sort of brief. And the second paragraph says how you know your contact is connected with the other person. It's key here to include the respectfulness of time, because they're taking time out of their day to help you. And the last paragraph is where you make the ask. And I mean, most of the time people are pretty open to helping and connecting if you make it clear to them specifically what you're looking for, and if you're respectful of their time. There may be a few occasions where people aren't as open, and that's fine too. Like, you should still thank them. So yeah. Let's see. You know, at the end of the day, people really do want to help you in your career, especially when you make it easy for them to help you. And that's why we call these career connecting conversations. Maybe some of the stuff looks or sounds intimidating, but it's not. It's just one of those things you gotta practice and put yourself out there. And the two email templates that I showed are fairly straightforward on what you're asking and how your friends or contacts, etc., can specifically help you. So yeah. Let me pause here and see if anyone has any questions. I know it. Oh, wow. I think I missed some questions here. So give me a moment. I'm gonna try to answer Ishan's question. Hi, Ishan. Sorry, I just saw this. Google Hangouts on Air is pretty new to me. Wow, thanks for joining. Angie, hey, yes, your question went through. Awesome. I'm graduating in 3 weeks with my master's and trying to find a job in the environmental field. The job market is scary. Yes, it is scary. But you know what? If you keep doing these types of conversations, I mean, in the beginning, I think it's always kind of scary putting yourself out there, but it'll get much easier. And I think you, especially as a new grad, you got to do quite a number of these informational interviews. So yeah, and we can talk more about your progress so far. Yeah, awesome. Hey Tracy, I just saw this. Okay, well, that feature works. Awesome. So you guys, I will pay close attention to the Q&A section, so feel free to ask more questions. Cool. All right. Moving back here. Okay. We are on slide 18. What to ask in career connecting conversations. What I mean by this is, after you've already gotten a yes about having someone to talk to you about their job or their company, and then what do you do next? What do you ask them? There's actually hundreds of different types of questions you could ask them, depending on, you know, if you want to know more specifically about the culture of the company, the department that you're working, that you would potentially be working at, the types of problems they desperately need help solving, or if you are actually looking for information on what this position entails. Like those two would be kind of different. Sometimes they overlap. If you're going for a position at a specific company, then they overlap. But yeah, I just put about 6 questions in here so that we wouldn't get overwhelmed. But I think I'm gonna pause and ask the audience, like, what are you most curious about learning when you have one of these career connecting conversations? So number one, I'm big into learning about the culture. So as you can see, number one, it's can you tell me more about the culture of this company? And then 2 kind of ties in with, tell me about why you decide to work at this company. What do you like most about this company? I think like asking questions around culture, you kind of get a sense of how they view the company, what the atmosphere is like. If the company is like a social one, people are kind of close knit and are friends after work, is there work balance? That type of stuff will probably come out as you ask. And it's always interesting to learn like why someone decided to work at a specific company and not another one. Maybe people work at companies for different reasons. I mean, it might be for the mission, it might be like salary advancement, it might be the culture. So yeah, those are definitely good insights, because it's important to try and figure that out, because you're going to be spending 40 hours or maybe more each week in this environment. So it's super important. So yeah, and then 3, I think this question can be important to some people who care a lot about like career progression and advancement. Especially if you want to be at a company and you're thinking, okay, like can I advance and get a promotion in 1 year? Like what does that look like? And promotions, if you want higher salary, stuff like that. And 4, as someone with type of background, how would you suggest I position my resume and experience? This type of question works well when you're going through a career change. I use this question very often when I was trying to figure out how to leverage my marketing experience, because I didn't have any business development experience, and I just wasn't sure like what parts of it would be most appealing to someone who was looking to hire for a business development position. So by just directly asking, I was able to better position myself during the interviews. Number 5, can you tell me more about the typical interview process for a candidate in X position? Why this is really important is that it gives you insight on how they do interviews, because interviews are different at every company. One company might do 3 rounds of interviews. Another company might have like 10 rounds. So it's good to know ahead of time how much effort you need to put in, and maybe their interviews drag on for like 6 months. I know like some of the bigger companies, they are very thorough and detail oriented, to say the least. And then you might be able to connect with the hiring managers in this position or other people on the team. So, and number 6, it's one of my favorite questions. I usually end the career connecting conversation with this question: what haven't I asked that I should have asked? Because sometimes when you're asking like certain questions, you just there's so much that there's only so much that that you should be asking or you're curious about, but maybe you're the person that you're talking to has some other insider info that would be super useful to you, but you just don't know that. So this question is really important to ask. In the past, I've gotten feedback on where I could get more experience and make myself a stronger candidate before I even started applying. So that was super helpful. I think it was about getting more volunteer experience. Yeah. Because I didn't have the background or whatnot. And then reapplying. And then, okay, we're going to move on to gathering internal intelligence. So this is just like to continue on with the career connecting conversations. I referenced earlier that you would learn how to get the inside scoop on companies and positions and decide if it's a good fit. So if you, to recap kind of, if you ask the questions from the last slide, it'll give you a good sense of whether or not it's a place that you want to actually work for. You can even get a sense of what people are like, what their motivations are and were for joining a company. You could even ask someone specifically in the department you want to work for. You can ask them more targeted questions, such as, what are some of the biggest issues that you're looking to solve? Probably want to word it more eloquently. But yeah, like, you could get definitely more of like the insider scoop of what's actually going on and what they're actually looking for in a candidate. And you can actually meet with people that would be interviewing you. I'm serious, like that. I mean, isn't that awesome? There are several companies before that I just went and got to know like 3 to 5 people working there. And it's, I mean, and by the time like interviewing or getting to that stage, I mean, if you do the same, like, it can just only help you that much more. And sometimes at the end, and I would typically recommend it, is ask them to refer you to another person at the company. Like, for example, if you're wanting to interview for, just as an example, a marketing position at level 3 communications. So you talk to someone that works at level 3 and then ask them if they can refer you to someone that specifically works in the marketing department, and then get to know them and then see if they can even refer you to someone else. And yeah, so just builds upon itself. You build rapport that way. And here, I'd say like after one of these conversations, 90% of the time, people are open to referring you in, which means you can get past the electronic gatekeeper and have someone at the company actually say, hey, I'll vouch for you. Isn't that better than just submitting a resume on a job site or a company site? I mean, you'll have someone at the company that's like looking out for you. And another thing too is sometimes a company won't have the position you'd like open yet, but because you have insider intelligence, the moment that it opens up, your insider person will notify you. I've actually had this happen to me before on roles that weren't going to be open for 1 to 3 months, and right when they opened up, I was notified right away. So yeah, they put a face to the application. I just want to pause and see if you guys have any questions so far. Have you guys tried something like this before? And I have the Q&A here this time, so should work fine. Hopefully the broadcasting is going smoothly enough. I noticed like the amount of viewers kind of goes up and down. Hopefully the Google Hangouts on Air is working smoothly. Any questions, you guys, before we move on? Okay. So yeah, I've used this framework myself to help me transition from marketing to business development in like 3.5 months. Um, so I asked about 70 people for help and had like dozens of these career connecting conversations. And then after 3.5 months later, I made the transition successfully. Okay, let's talk about realistic timelines here. I want to leave some ample time for questions at the end, like in case you guys have like very specific questions. Okay, what's the timeline? Realistically, it can take 1.5 months to 6 months to find out well, I wouldn't say find out what you're looking for, but to make the transition. Oh, okay. Actually, we'll take a moment to answer Erica's question. Hey, Mimi, is it appropriate to follow up with your friend after the conversation, or is it best to hear from them? Good question. So the etiquette is to follow up if you can within like 24 hours. 48 hours is fine too. And just acknowledging to them, thanking them for their time and for the conversation. And then recapping a little bit, like gently on like what you need help with. And so, yeah. And then after that, I would wait probably at least several days to a week before following up with them again. So yeah, so giving them some time there. Hopefully that answers your question, Erica. All right. Any other questions? I think there might be a lag on Google Hangouts. So I'm gonna give a moment to let it wait. In retrospect, I probably should have included a email template for alumni, especially after showing you the ways to connect with alumni on LinkedIn. So I will keep that in mind. Okay. So I'll answer any more questions after I finish this slide. What's the timeline? I'd say realistically, it'll probably take 1.5 months to 6 months to make that transition if you follow this framework. It just kind of depends, because some people are very good with connecting, or other people need more practice with it. I mean, it's definitely something you can learn. So have faith in that. I think a huge part of it is figuring out and taking that time to find a company and a position that fits with what you're looking for. I mean, that sometimes is the harder part, and you just have to be patient. I mean, the point here is to take some time to find a company and in a position that's just a really good fit with you. Like whether it's the culture, the work-life balance, or type of advancement opportunities, or the mission, like, or all of the above. And yeah, and I had mentioned here, like, like sometimes they don't have the position up currently yet. It's also fine to use these career connecting conversations, even if you might not know specifically what role. I mean, there's like certain nuances in how you do the emails, but and how you ask the questions. But yeah, the point is just like putting yourself out there. Let's see, we're actually gonna finish quite early today, which gives me Insight to either slow down my talking for the next webinar or to add even more helpful content. Let's take a moment here. I'm ready to recap. Okay, recapping what we went over. I explained why sending a bunch of general resumes to a bunch of job postings doesn't work because it's hard to get past the electronic gatekeepers. And secondly, where to find people in your network to help you in landing your next job. Third, how to ask for career connecting conversations and what to say. So I had some email scripts and sample interview questions included. And then how do you even get the insider scoop on a company and position before you apply so you can decide if it's worth it? Like, you know, if the interview process is going to take you like 10 hours, like, geez, like, you know, you want to know if you want to spend time on it. I'm going to jump to the last slide because we're finished early. Okay. You can land a job you love. So yeah, in June, I'm going to roll out a multi-week course on getting clarity on your career. So like go over your strengths, past experience, not just job, just a little bit of life coaching too, like what you want in different areas of your life. And then helping people with an action plan to move forward. Feel free to email me at mimizhang01@gmail.com if you're interested. And also, if you'd like me to help you on one-on-one coaching basis or have some other career-related questions, again, feel free to email me at mimizhang01@gmail.com. And like, thank you guys for spending your hour here with me. And I wanna ask, like, do you guys have any specific questions, or you know, feel free to elaborate on your specific circumstance, and you know, because we have some time left for questions if we need it. Let me know. And yeah, if you have feedback on how to make this presentation even better for whoever is going on this one next, let me know. I'm actually doing one next Wednesday night as well for another career coaches list. So that should be fun. Cool. I will hang out here and see if there are questions. I wish I could write directly on this Q&A thing. I think I have Alexander on here too. Let's see. Hanging out. Do you mind emailing the 2 templates, please? Yes, I will do that, Erica. Does anyone else want the email templates? Let me know. So I know Erica wants the email templates. Thanks, Angie, for joining on. And we should catch up as well. I want to hear what's going on with your job search and see if there's even more specific advice I can help you with. Angie wants the templates too. Ishan, can you email me the slides, make them available for perusal? Sure. I'm trying to think what's the best way to do that, Ishan. Do you think? I wonder if SlideShare would be the best way. Let me take a moment to write these notes down. You guys, this is the first webinar I've done, so thank you. Thank you for coming and checking it out. Yeah. Okay. Make them. Yeah, I can email you guys the slides. Just trying to think how to put them up too for the general public. Just putting a note in here, email slides and templates. If I email the slides, then Erica and Angie, you'll get the templates on there. Thank you, Ishan, for coming. Thanks, Erica. All right, Angie, got it. Cool. I think if everyone doesn't have any more questions, I'm gonna wrap this up. Let me see. Should probably at least show my face. Give me a second. Hey, it's morning here. So yeah. All right, you guys. Awesome having you. And I'll probably do more of these on different topics. So yeah. Until next time.